If you're listening to this, it means the current state of affairs in and out of the manosphere has reached a point close enough to home that I was compelled to not only record this, but upload it. It's going to be 8 years since I took and digested the red pill, and I've learned a few things along the way, several things. So here are eight, actually 8 years. The first one, once you digest the red pill, there's really no going back. You never quite see the things as you used to once you've done that. Even if there's a desire to, you essentially know too much. You see too much. You're aware of so much change that you can't really go back to the person you were. You may mimic it, but you'll always know. Even if you try to go along to get along, you'll always know. Two, my life is better because of digestion of the pill. I'm a better father, husband, still married. I'll get to that in a bit. Parent, and I never made more money than I did. And part of that was through understanding, digesting the red pill, and using that new freedom and awareness to maximize my life as it is. Three, the work is never finished. One of the reasons I stopped making videos was, quite frankly, I felt there was nothing new under the sun that either my channel, or more importantly, much larger channels had put out back then. And at this point, it was kind of to me like, the news of Jesus Christ. There's scarcely a person, even non-Christian, Jewish, atheist, that hasn't heard of Jesus Christ. Granted, there are probably some people on the planet that haven't, but more people than not have. So it is mainstream, as we say. And so I figured, you know what? Either I've said it, somebody else has said it, or somebody says it better than I have in terms of red pill knowledge. So there's no really need for me to keep putting out stuff in that vein. And part of going your own way, even though I'm not big fan, never was, just waking while red pill, was eventually rediscovering or discovering your male sovereignty and then going out into the world after you've dealt with those internal things and seeking and finding your own truth, purpose, path, and mission in life. And as a lot of the old G's in the manosphere said, that might be, not deleting your channel, but just, okay, I've said what I have to say here. It's time for me to go out into the world or look within and, do something else and go on a different path. Four, you will have friends and family that you lose once you have chosen to take, digest, and live the life that Red Pill has brought to you. I definitely lost a non-trivial amount of family members and a couple of good friends because they either did not understand or rejected or were downright hostile at the direction the red pill took me in my life, even though it was clear that what was happening with me was beneficent, not only for myself, but for those around me. But that's something you have to expect, and that could happen. And you may try to even get them to your side of things, but that rarely works. That rarely works. And I'll get back to that in a bit as well. Number five, and this is the good news. It actually gets easier once you've digested the red pill as you get older if you've done the work. I think as you progress through your 30s, your 40s, 50s, where I am now, and beyond, if you've done the internal work, once you've digested it, it's much harder to be pulled back onto the plantation if you do the work. It's much harder when you're in your 20s and your teens, even your 30s, than it is at 50, 60, and beyond, if you've done the work. Of course, it depends when you do digest it, but in general, these things get easier. There's less of a craving, if you will, for our carnal needs, particularly as it relates to sex, for example. Number six, and this is from the original Matrix movie, understand the significance of the woman in the red dress. For those of you who have not seen the original film, you can find clips on this on YouTube. And that's the idea that even as you digest and you know the red pill and you grow and you know your red pill, your MGTOW, whatever the case may be, don't think there won't be temptations. Don't think there isn't some entity, person, organization who has your kryptonite and is ready to deploy it if you are not careful. It's out there. They're out there. And so it's never one and done. You know, you take the red pill and it's smooth sailing. You have to be constantly vigilant to your truth on your path as you grow in the new way brought by the digestion of the red pill. You must never forget it may not take much depending on who you are or your disposition to not only see temptation but succumb to it. There are people who have to attempt multiple times to give up cigarettes or drinking or drugs. So it's not for everybody one and done. Number seven. This is what I learned in recent years as my young men are now in the middle of their teenage years and my daughter is on the cusp of adulthood. Those who come after you, you can say your red pill, you can say your MGTOW, but at the end of the day, those who come after you will watch what you do and make their own decisions. I'm learning that more than ever from all my children, both sons and daughters, that it's my actual conduct, the change they see in me, that ultimately lets me know I'm doing as well, of course, as the change from those outside of my household looking in and seeing the change in me and actually mentioning things like, wow, you seem happier, you seem in better shape, you seem that you seem well traveled, as some young woman said to me, which is a euphemism that it looks like I've got an awareness of the world around me that is worthy of mention. But at the end of the day, it's by the example. I think it's best for those coming behind that particular young man that they have to see, okay, this person is living this red pill life. And so they may be more inclined to check it out, even maybe take the red pill versus maybe they just hear a video or read a book or something. Not that those things don't help, but you get the picture. And finally, number eight, also from the original Matrix movie, is that, and really related to point seven, no one can really tell you what the Matrix is. You really have to see and experience it for yourself. And I see that now more than ever because we're pretty much at the next generation of young men since I first did my first video almost 8 years ago. And a lot of them either never left the plantation or maybe were still in adolescence when my first video came out, and even others before me, like Barbarossa, Stardust, Third Monkey, you know. And so they may have jumped in at the Alpha Male Strategies period or the Kevin Samuels period or things like that. Not to mention those who maybe don't even know about the original Return of King sites, The Rational Male, what have you. And so they may be jumping in the middle with the proliferation of dating coaches and what I would call neo game, if you will. Um, and so they are figuring this out in a sense for the first time from where they are. And, you know, if they dig deep enough, maybe they'll stumble over the old stuff and maybe they won't. But it's ultimately not something you can teach. You can at best point a signboard, you know, look in this direction, see what you find. But ultimately, uh, I think the next generation, like the generation that will come after, will have to rediscover it or discover it for themselves. That's all I got. Take care.